Anyone who has ever felt inspired to write a song should do it. But how do you do it? I'm Andrea Stolpe, and if you've ever struggled with the process of writing songs or never finished a song, this video is for you. I'll take you through writing a whole song, and as I do, I encourage you to pause the video and try the techniques out yourself. These foundational tools will really help get some songs out and become more familiar with the process. There's plenty of general advice around how to write a song, because there isn't just one way. But those who write by pure inspiration really can't tell you how they write because they don't know. But just because a songwriter isn't aware of their process doesn't mean there isn't one. Now, some people prefer that songwriting remain a mystery, as if by breaking it down into process and patterns, we somehow make inspiration inaccessible. But I think that just assuming there is a wizard doesn't make the wizard real. I'd rather face the music and deal with the disappointment that my songs sometimes are. Then I can improve because I know where to look. Before we can write a song, we need to know what a song is and what it isn't. A song is comprised of melody, chords, rhythm, and lyrics. Imagine a vocal with a single instrument like guitar or piano. The melody is sung along with the lyrics and the chords are played along with the rhythm. The rhythm the guitar or piano player is playing is called the harmonic rhythm of the song. The rhythm can sometimes strongly indicate the style of the song, like R&B, country, rock, punk, and so on. When songs are recorded and performed live, they have been produced. Production describes the particular sonic and arrangement choices made to enhance the communication of the song. It's the decision to use electronic sounds, specific tones on the guitar, or to start the song with the chorus rather than the bridge. Today, many songs are written starting with production. A sample or beat inspires a bass line, the vocalist starts improvising a melody that leads to a lyric line or two, and suddenly all pistons are firing. 3 hours later, you've got a couple of verses and a chorus, and you're considering how you might get out of writing a bridge. No matter how you write, the bones of a song are always the same. A song needs chords, rhythm, melody, and lyric. Anything else and you might just call it a composition, a beat, or an instrumental track. Now, the way writers write is often a result of our unique skill sets. An instrumentalist might start with chords and a harmonic rhythm. A vocalist might start with melody. A poet start with lyrics. Where you start may indicate where you feel most competent. However, intentionally starting a song with an element that is not your strength can be a great approach. This way, you're not left trying to form the difficult bones of a song around the part that you do really well. So if you're a guitar player, maybe try starting with some words and a little melody. If you're a vocalist, maybe try laying down some chords and maybe a simple bass line groove. In this way, you can focus all your strength on the parts that come with lesser ease, and then lean on your strengths to build around that part. I like to start with lyrics because they often take the most time and tweaking. There are a few exercises that you can do to generate interesting lyrics. Some people are big concept thinkers, and some think in small detail. Songs need both big and small thinking, and to illustrate this, I'd like to use Bill Withers' song, Lovely Day. The chorus delivers the main message of a song. It's the big idea and core concept. The chorus typically carries repetition of those big concept lyric lines, and it's where the melody, chords, and rhythm of the song are all in full swing. It's the why of the song and gives the verses context. Verses, on the other hand, provide character development, storyline, and detail. They tell us who, when, where, and how. Verse lyrics describe a small moment, giving the characters and the plot a specific and defined shape. The melody of a verse often contrasts with the chorus melody, though the chords and rhythm might be the same. This is a good time to mention that songwriting, like any art and design, has tools, not rules. Repetition and contrast are great rules to follow, but the art is in feeling the purpose behind the tool and when to use it, allowing for exceptions. Now, to get lyrics flowing for a song, I like to freewrite. Freewriting is stream of conscious journaling, where you just give your inner critic the day off in order to let your free expression flow out. When we freewrite, we don't write with rhyme or rhythm in mind. It's our way towards authentic, more conversational lyrics. Now, some people freewrite about a concept, a memory, or an event, and it can be really helpful to keep adding to a list of prompts you can give yourself when you don't know what to write about. They might be single words, phrases, or lines that you can jump off of the next time you have time. Another approach to free writing can be to choose a place or a person to write about. So it could be a bus stop, it could be the backseat of a car, or a person sitting at a coffee shop. This scene or character can lead you to the thing that you're actually writing about. Here's some writing I did about an old man sitting alone in a coffee shop. Now remember how I said that lyrics are both small and big thinking? Well, in this paragraph, there's both small detail and big thoughts and feelings. The small detail provides context for the thoughts and feelings. It shows you the character and pulls you into the scene. I'm going to highlight those in pink. The other lines of the free write, those thoughts and feelings and big statements, I'm going to highlight those in yellow. You can do the same with your own free writing. As you decide what's big thinking and what's small detail, just remember it's not a hard science. Trust your gut to tell you which way each kind of line tends to lean. Now I'm going to try to write a song from these pink and yellow highlighted lines. Not all of them, but just the ones I like. And as I do, I'm going to make it structured similar to Bill Withers' Lovely Day. I'm going to have a few verses, a chorus, and a bridge, and maybe even a few pre-choruses in there right before the choruses come. The same principles that apply to art and design can be applied to songwriting and music. Things like pattern, contrast, and movement are core to our experience of a song and can provide a framework for understanding their emotional effect. As with any art, we learn by doing. So first, I'm going to put together a chorus by choosing some big thought lines to stack. I'm going to try using repetition as well because the definition of chorus indicates that we can sing along. I want it to be concise and memorable, and repetition helps to achieve that. Repetition is the first rule of songwriting, made to be broken, of course. Now that I've grabbed some lines to make a chorus, I'm going to take a look at the verse. Now the verse sets the scene, establishes the character, and gives the chorus context. So for this, I'm going to grab some lines from my pink highlighted column. And depending on how detailed I want to be, I might draw back a little and grab a few lines from the yellow column too. A quick note about rhyme. Rhyme can feel like a straitjacket to a lot of us songwriters. Apart from musical theater, popular songwriting is very loose with rhyme. Now notice how I get away with practically no rhyme at all, with bills and window being a very loose connection, followed almost immediately by a more perfect rhyme with window and go. Now, this is due to a structural choice I made to elongate that third line and let it bleed right into line 4, and then I added a fifth line to give your ear the sense that it's closing down. This is a structural tool that can enhance your songwriting, make your section sound a little less boxy and a little more free-flowing. And with rhyme, it's more important how the sonic connection feels rather than what it looks like on paper. Remember, songwriting is an auditory art form, not a visual one. Now I'm going to write a section to fall right between the verse and the chorus. It's called a pre-chorus. And to change things up a bit, I'm going to make it 3 lines long. The second rule of songwriting is contrast. Just when the listener gets used to something, we give them something new. This shines the spotlight on the area of change. This alludes to the principle in design of emphasis. It's how we keep the listener engaged. To form this section, I'm going to grab a few more small detail lines to show the character even more. Pre-chorus lyrics can draw from small or big thought language, as long as they don't jump the gun and steal the message from the chorus. These 3 sections, the verse, pre-chorus, and chorus, come together to be half a song, barring a bridge. Second verses give songwriters a lot of problems. Songs, like other art forms, are based on the principle of movement. If I continue to describe the old man, the movement is going to stall. So a nice way to adjust this is to actually go back in time, maybe talk about when the man was young. Once again, I can lift lines that show the small moment of the verse and stack them. Another way to create movement is to change who we're talking about, in this case, he. I can exchange the pronouns from he to you or we. That'll broaden the song concept. Now the song might begin to feel like the character is just being spotlighted as someone who's a symbol for all of our experiences. Now to the second pre-chorus. Now, I could repeat the first pre-chorus, but it doesn't make a lot of sense in context of where I've been in the second verse. So I'm going to go back to the second verse free writing that I just did and grab a few more lines. Now I can go right back into the second chorus, giving it some additional meaning and color. Now, some songs have bridges, and bridges tend to come after the second chorus. For this bridge, I'm going to look forward in time and consider what the future might bring. And once again, I'm going to take the lines from my free writing, and if something new occurs to me while I'm writing the lyric, fine, I might use it. But if not, I'm going to stick to the ideas that came out when I felt inspired. And now that I've got a rough draft for a lyric, it's time to take that lyric to my instrument. Now, if you don't play, don't worry. I'll keep it relatively simple. But you do need to trust your voice enough to coax out a few notes for a melody. Patterns are as essential to songs as they are to art and design. Most songs just have 3 or 4 different melodies going on within them, using a lot of repetition and a little variability. Many songs also just have 3 to 6 different chords that are strung together to make chord progressions and repeated. Now, the rhythm of these chords extend through the entirety of the song, even if all the instruments aren't always in on it. It expresses the personality and the style of the song. Now, a really important concept to understand in songwriting is that less is often more. Negative space is just as important as singing or playing notes. This negative space is rest space, and it works to define our melodies, define our chord progressions, and give our songs room to breathe. Now let me backtrack a minute. To set this lyrics to music, the first thing I need to do is choose some chords. Then I need to decide on a tempo and a meter that I'm going to play those chords with. These things can then let my melody arise out of the chords, so something that I think sings well and paces the lyric really well too. If you play a little, try moving between just a couple of chords on piano, like for example, just the C chord and the F major chord. By doing this, you're creating a simple landscape that your melody can rise out of. Now, 2 chords can say a lot with personality. Here's some examples. We could go something strong, kind of angular. Or you could try something light and playful in mood, like this. Yeah, C major to F major. Or you could try something a little bit more sentimental, like C major to D minor. And that D minor gives it a little listless, a little sentimentality to it. Now, once you've got a couple of chords in mind and you're just going with your gut to feel the personality that they might carry, the next thing is to establish the meter and the tempo. Now, meter is the count. It's what we dance to. A lot of songs are written in common time, and with that time, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we repeat. Next, we set the tempo. You can change the tempo later on if you feel like the song is too fast or too slow, but tempo stays the same throughout a song, unless you're an exceptional player and you can make the tempo change sound like an artful decision. Now I'm going to look at writing a melody for my song lyrics. When I sing these lyrics, I know that I have the choice to either sing long pitches or short pitches, low pitches or high pitches. And melody is really just that. It's a rhythm and a pitch. So whenever you sing your lyrics, you can choose to stretch out the words or make them very short. You could put a lot of rest space between different words or connect them completely with no rest space at all. Melody just gives you choices. So let me try some different things. I could sing a singular note throughout the whole line. Here's my meter. Just a coffee black as he pages through his wallet for some bills. Okay, it's fine all alone. It kind of feels like maybe the melody should move. Just a coffee black as he pages through his wallet for some bills. Okay, now I've got some jumping around going on. I could just sing 2 notes next to each other and make a really nice melody, and a lot of songs do this. Just a coffee black as he pages through his wallet for some bills. So it's really up to you how you want to write that melody. Songwriters sometimes spend a lot of time to get their melodies just right, because the melody is something that you want to be able to repeat. Now, this is the fun part. This is when you just get to simply listen to what you're making and observe what you like. When I sing a line of lyric to a melody I like, that melody becomes a little building block of the whole section. That's how songs become both distinct and memorable. So here's my verse with the melody that was inspired from the chords that I'm playing underneath using repetition. Just a coffee black as he pages through his wallet for some bills. And 2 sugar packets. Every afternoon he watches out the window while the cars go by. All right, so I like that good enough. Now I'm going to move on to the pre-chorus. Remember the principle of contrast that we talked about before? Well, that's going to apply here. So I'm not going to sing that same verse melody again. I'm going to change the shapes and rhythms until I get something I like. I'll keep singing ideas until I get something that I think really is worth keeping. And his hands shake, and he uses his cane. This is the part that only says I'm ba-da-dums, dang. This is just me showing me goofing around, trying to get inspired for people to. And his hands shake as he hooks his cane on the back of the chair. Now, if a new melody doesn't totally satisfy me, I might need to refresh that section a little bit more. And to do that, I'm going to introduce a new chord. Now, the new chord and a new melody together create even more contrast and more movement for the song. And his hands shake as he hooks his cane on the back of the chair. All right. Now on to the chorus. Now I want the chorus to be simple and strong. And so once again, I'm going to return to the chords of the verse because I already diverged from them. And so when I bring them back, they're going to sound fresh and new again. But I will find a new melodic building block so the section takes on its own distinctive shape and sound. Are you like me? You wonder what happened. The years went faster, faster than they should have gone, it seems. It won't slow down, and time slips out faster, faster, faster. Remember that your listener is hearing the song for the first time. What feels familiar and maybe even boring to you, they've never heard before, and they need time to get used to it and become familiar with it. Now, songs have different sections in part to help the listener navigate the story. Now, bridges happen late in a song, and generally, they take the song to a place it hasn't yet been. Now, to do this, try choosing a chord color that you haven't yet used. In the key of C, I could go to a B-flat major, or I could go to an E-flat major, or maybe an A-flat major for a really different new sound. You can also start on a melodic pitch you haven't yet used in the song. But keep it simple. The earlier you use contrast in a section, the greater the contrast will be. Was it all worth it? Did everything work out in the end? Oh, don't tell me, tell me, tell me, are you like me? And out with a chorus. Now, songwriting is both an art and a craft, and the more you do it, the more you can use structural principles to enhance your communication. Now, if you're just writing for yourself and you really don't care who gets what you're trying to say, then you really don't need to worry about enhancing your communication. But if you want to be understood and move others with your songs, structural tools will help you do that. It's critical that we eventually get feedback from other people. We need to understand what they understand when they hear us play and sing. Your listeners will find it very difficult, though, to express in a way that's useful to you how to enhance the communication of your song. Think of this like viewing a piece of art if you've got no experience with art. As an artist, you could make suggestions about how to improve the piece, but as a consumer, it's very difficult to know what to suggest to change the way we feel about something. So when you get feedback, take it lightly and search out people who have the experience of writing songs so that you can get more actionable tools to make your songs more memorable. Write with others, attend a songwriting retreat, or take a course where you can interact with other writers experiencing the same struggles you are. Become a part of a creative community. Now, if stealing off for a week with a like-minded group of creatives sounds appealing to you, I would love to have you apply and meet you and hear your music. You can find the link to those retreats below. Now, if you can't physically make it to a retreat, then a course is a great option. Look below for those opportunities. I wish you regular bursts of inspiration and a songwriting process that never stops evolving and growing. Thank you for watching. Let's make music.